find out if Marvel Snap's newest card shall rule the high seas or be sent straight to Davy Jones' locker, as I hereby summon all my imps to join me on my adventures through Marvel Snap. Hey everybody, it's Annabelle. So, do we have an interesting card this particular week? So this week in the Spotlight Cache, we got Namora. Namora started life as a hybrid daughter of an Atlantean man and a surface woman with superhuman strength and the power of flight that she gets by using the wings on her ankles. During her early adolescence, she lived in the Atlantis capital and was a playmate to Namor, who is her cousin. Then one day, her father was killed by treasure-hunting surface dwellers, and she changed her name to Namora, the Atlantean term for Avenging Daughter. Namor possesses the normal Atlantean traits of prolonged lifespan, body adaptation to deep underwater pressures, augmented vision to penetrate deep ocean depths, and a specialized blood circulation to withstand freezing temperatures. She also has lungs that contain oxygen diffusing membranes, allowing her to extract oxygen from water as she inhales it, and thus she can survive indefinitely either underwater or on land. Namora is the second highest ranking royal of the Confederation of Atlantis, and she protects this home alongside Namora. Together they have battled killer whales, warmongers, and dozens of self-styled pirates. She also does want to be part of her mother's people, so she will live on the surface for many months at a time. She has frequented many seaside towns alongside the United States eastern coast, but her heart is always with the sea. Namora is a very regal. She is strong-willed, serious, and has a no-nonsense attitude. She wants to end any battle quickly. She is also stern and quiet, preferring not to talk very much. She is loyal and will immediately follow any orders. She is also fearless. She will put her own life at risk for others in battle. She has her own sense of right and wrong, an unrelenting force, letting little stand in her way of doing what she believes is to be the best. Namora possesses superhuman strength beyond typical Atlanteans, enabling her to lift at least 75 tons. Her skin is bulletproof and resistant to most other forms of impact. Her body can gradually overcome even the most deadly of poisons. She can swim at nearly 60 miles per hour and flies at roughly the same speed. She must periodically make skin contact with water, preferably by submerging, to keep her powers replenished, however. Namora is known for putting her own life at risk for others. She is always willing to help out any soldier who has no other allies. This is represented in Marvel Snap by her providing power to any warrior that is currently alone on a battlefield when she shows up. So in Marvel Snap, she is a 5 cost 6 power with the description of that she will give plus 5 power to each of your other cards, not herself, that are alone at other locations than her. So in Marvel Snap, I've had a hard time judging this card. And when I looked at everything, when I was going through everything, her star rating came up as a 1. Now, there is a big asterisk on this, and we'll go over the big asterisk on this at the very end. So, let's talk about some of the cards that people have suggested with Namora, because I kept going, how is this card supposed to work? Where is this card supposed to work? And one of the cards that people have talked about is a card like Jeff, preferably with something like Nightcrawler, where on turn 1 you play Nightcrawler, on turn 2 you play Jeff, then on turn 3 you play something to ramp her out early, turn 4 you play her down, and you give Jeff and Nightcrawler the power points, and then you move Jeff and Nightcrawler around, and then you win that way. Another card that I have seen talked about at least a little bit is Deadpool. Now, Deadpool is a decently interesting card because a lot of times Destroy decks have lanes that are won by themselves near the end. Even if you don't hit Deadpool, imagine that you just played your Venom down, which happens a lot of times on turn 4. When you play Deadpool and you'll play Venom, eat everything in a lane, giving your Venom an extra +5 is nothing to cry about. Giving Deadpool an extra +5 is nothing to cry about. Giving X-23 an extra +5 is nothing to cry about, considering the X-23 can't be destroyed. Giving it to Wolverine, considering that Wolverine can't be destroyed, is nothing to cry about. I'm just not sure if that's good enough at this point. Another card that has been talked about a little bit is the Hulkbuster, because of the fact that Hulkbuster doesn't take up a slot, so you could play down a decently good card and then throw Hulkbuster on top of it, and then play it down in the Namora to give it even more power, because then you're adding +8 to one single card on a location. Now, one of the cards that has been talked about a little bit is Captain Marvel. And while having a 4/10 Captain Marvel seems great, you're not even seeing Captain Marvel being played with Shuri anymore, so I'm not sure that's going to work the way everybody wants it to. Now, there is an interesting thing to say about doing like Namora with, let's say, something like Multiple Man, because if you can get it on the Multiple Man, you're doing a 2/8, and then as soon as you move the Multiple Man, you're getting another 2/8. So that's actually a 2/16 on the board. That's very powerful to have that at that point. Another early game card would be like saying something like Gladiator. You play down the Gladiator. If Gladiator destroys something, Gladiator's done its job. If you can play something even on turn 4, just playing Gladiator on 3, playing a decently good card on 4, and then playing her on 5, gives Gladiator a huge buff. That's a 13-point Gladiator that you just threw down. A card that might go with Gladiator is Omega Red. A 4/10 Omega Red is something to talk about. Now, the card you never want to play in this is Namor. You never want to play Namor and Namora together. This is almost a discussion about how Namor has to change at this particular point. There's a part of me that wants this ongoing to change from being +5 power if this card is alone to getting double its power if this card is alone. That alone would make it interesting, making it basically an Iron Man, but it has to be alone, which is hard to pull up because Namor is the reason that this card has so many problems. All the reasons that you don't play Namor are all the reasons that you're not going to play Namora. The clogging of lanes, the Cosmos, the Shuris, the Vipers, the Annihilus, the Debris, the Central Parks are all going to make you cry when you look at how Namor works. That's what makes this card so hard. There's a reason you don't play Namor, and it's because Namor sucks. There's no way to make this card good. You can try 6 different ways from Sunday, but every time you think you get this card to work, and you get this card early, by the way, so you can try it even early if you want to. This is one of the first cards you cut in Marvel Snap. This is the original cut this card from your deck card. So having Namora have all the same issues is going to fall into all the same problems, and that's what makes this card so hard to judge. Now, I have fallen short and been wrong on a couple cards in the past. When I've done stuff like Miss Marvel, I thought Miss Marvel would be too hard to play because of the restrictions. And even when I looked at Blink, I thought Blink would be too hard to play because of the time spacing, about how you have to basically get it on 5. If you don't get it on 5, it doesn't help you out as much. And to be honest, if you look at Namora compared to just Abomination, which you can also get down on 5, and if you say that Abomination is a 9, and that if you have one spot with 2 cards on it when you play out Namora, she's still a 5/11. Are you willing to lose 2 points or gain 2 points on your power spike to just get a better card than Abomination, which sees no play? You're basically playing an Abomination and giving it plus 2 points if any of your lines even have 2 cards on them when you play Namora, and you don't have a spot to put her where the other 2 cards get the plus to power. To a certain degree, you almost have to look at her like a Lady Deathstrike. Lady Deathstrike is the closest card I could find her. Same power, same cost, and almost the same kind of real narrow restriction, where Lady Deathstrike can do some real damage if your opponent has set up right. Now, the Namora can do some real damage if your opponent hasn't set up right. Now, there is some interesting cards that you can still play, like, say, you can play Typhoid Mary. Typhoid Mary, giving her plus 10 power, playing her on 4, is going to make her a 4/15. That's really powerful to come by. Now, of all the cards that I have talked about, all the things I've talked about, there are so many issues with trying to make it work. And that's what makes this card so hard to play. There's one deck that I think might be its saving grace, and it's the oddest deck that I can talk about. And I haven't heard anybody talk about this deck with her. And it's the Domino deck. And I know you're sitting there going, Domino, how does that deck work with her? And it's not Domino so much as it is Domino Blink. You play Domino on 2 in a lot of the Domino Blink cards. The Blink decks, I should say. So you play Domino on 2, and then you play Electro on 3, and then you blink out the Electro. If you get the Jubilee, and the Jubilee grabs her, it's giving plus 5 to Domino and plus 5 to Blink. That brings your Blink up to a 12. And brings the Domino up to an 8. There's nothing bad about having a 12 and an 8 and a 6 on the board. Technically 7 if you have the Jubilee. On turn 4. That is a strong, powerful 7 power lane, 8 power lane, 12 power lane. Now, is that a win-all, not gonna lose deck? No, stuff can still beat that. But is that a really awkward board for your opponent to look at? Yeah. The only problem with that I can see is your opponent might see that board and just bounce, so you might not get the secret 8-cube win. But that's the deck that I can see this winning. All the stuff with Wong and playing her on Wong and then playing a Dr. Doom at the end just does not make sense to me. If you want to make that deck, you can play that deck right now and it'll cost you 0 collector's tokens. Skip turn 1, skip turn 2. On turn 3, play Cerebro. On turn 4, play Wong into the Cerebro ring. On turn 5, play White Tiger, and on turn 6, play Odin. All those are free cards except for Cerebro. It'll put 40 points into the first lane, 40 points into the third lane. That is a strong, powerful card. Strong, powerful deck will only cost you finding Cerebro somewhere in the wild. If you own every single else card, all the rest of those cards in there, other than Wong, are Series 1s and 2s. So Wong and Cerebro are your 2 hard cards to find in there. So trying to make the whole, I'm going to play this on 1, this on 2, play Wong on 4, get double Namora, pop stuff off, do stuff. I have no idea what deck that is supposed to be. That is throwing so much to the wind. If you're putting down, you're doing 6 things in a row. On turn 1, you're going to play the perfect play. On turn 2, you're going to play the perfect play. On 4, 5, 6, you're going to play the perfect play. You can make any deck work like that. You can make the worst deck in all Marvel Snap work like that if you draw perfectly and play perfectly, and none of the locations bite you. So, other than this particular deck, there are some interesting things with Namora. There are some cards that I want to see work with it. There's some destroy options. There's some ongoing options. This Domino deck scares me. So, if this Domino deck works well, it might be a true contender. It might make this card not only a staple card, but a meta card. If not, I have a feeling she's not even going to hit a 1-star. So, my rating is still a 1-star on her, because I am not sure if this deck works. But if this deck works, she's a 5-star card. She's a 6-star card. That combo is so strong to get it at that point. And some of the other cards in here that you can play with it, not even with her, but in that deck, but with her, like Deadpool makes so much sense. Multiple Man makes sense, and these are cards that people haven't really talked about. So, other than that, this particular week, we have, unfortunately, Sakaar. Sakaar never found a home, still isn't finding a home, especially with Zabu changing how Zabu plays now. It's really hard to get down anything that's 10 early. Even if you get down 10s early, it's not the power point it used to be, and that's the sad part about this. The other card this week is actually a decently good card. Black Knight. Black Knight is a card that can legitimately make a deck by itself if you're Series 3 complete. You play the Black Knight, you play the Lady Sith, you're hoping to discard your Infinite. You play out Ghost Rider to pull back the Infinite, and then you play the Blade. And then if you haven't gotten leached, you play the Taskmaster on the Blade. That will win you games. So, there are 2 cards in here that there's one card in here that I think is pretty much trash. There's another card in here that I think is pretty much maybe okay. I'd have to really do some testing on it, believe it or not. It's either a 1 or a 6. There's no in between. And right now I'm leaning towards 1. And the other card in here is a staple card. So, you basically have the good, the bad, and the awkward at this time. So, that's what the caches look like this week. I'm not sure I would roll on this week. I would see how Namora goes. If you really do want Black Knight, I might spend the tokens on him. Because he is a card that makes a deck himself. I because I am a content creator and I'm crazy, I'm still gonna roll on this week's cache. So let's find out what's in the box. What's in the box? Let's all find what's in the box. Alright, let me open the box. Come on. There it is. This week's box is the blob. Alright, if you watch me on Friday, I will try to make the blob work. Anyways, I want to thank you all so much for watching, and as always, remember, play for fun.